Omni-Man. Omni-Man is what happens if Superman was sent to Earth for the worst possible reasons. At first, Grayson plays the role perfectly. He flies around in a cape, saves people from natural disasters, and acts as the ultimate symbol of hope for the planet. He has the strength, the speed, and the whole alien from a distant world backstory that screams Clark Kent. The difference is that Viltrum isn't a dead planet he barely escaped from. It's a massive empire built on conquering weaker worlds. Nolan wasn't sent to Earth for some DB- retcon reason like his parents wanted him to survive. He was sent here as an advanced scout to weaken the planet's defenses for the impending invasion. When you realize that, all his heroic deeds are laced with a very dark undertone. Superman holds back his power because he loves humanity. On the other hand, Omni-Man holds back because he's just keeping the livestock calm until the invasion starts. He isn't a beacon of hope at all, but rather a ticking time bomb. The moment he stops pretending, Earth realizes exactly how terrifying a truly evil Superman can be. Mark got a taste of it himself, didn't he? Invincible, Mark Grayson, is a Spidey parody through and through, but his story focuses way more on the classic Boy Scout learning the ropes angle, the pure homage sort of parody. Mark gets his powers in high school and just wants to do the right thing. He has the bright costume, the optimistic attitude, and the overwhelming desire to live up to a legacy. Just like Spider-Man, for Mark, every major fight is an absolute bloodbath. His invulnerability has very clear limits, and he gets his teeth knocked out, his bones broken, and his body torn apart on a regular basis. Mark is the exact underdog story that is befitting any good Spider-Man series. Instead of being an untouchable god among men, he is the ultimate punching bag. Strength-wise, he sits high up there, but his real power doesn't come from flying through buildings and punching hard. Rather, it's his insane willpower that gives him the edge. He proves that being a hero isn't glamorous. It just means you have to be willing to get beaten half to death and still get back up to protect your neighborhood. Monster Girl. Monster Girl is a very refreshing take on the Hulk. Usually, the Hulk trope is all about a puny human turning into a massive, unstoppable rage monster. Amanda fits that description perfectly when she transforms into a giant, super strong ogre to act as the heavy hitter for her team. That thing is enormous and strong enough to give some of the toughest villains a real fight. The catch is the biological cost tied to her powers. Bruce Banner just has to worry about anger management and paying for property damage. Amanda's curse actually alters her human timeline. Every single time she transforms, her human body de-ages. So you have a fully grown adult woman trapped inside the body of a little girl. This rule turns her brute strength into a terminal countdown. She can't just smash things whenever she wants. If she uses her powers too much, she will eventually regress so far back that she ceases to exist. Her Hulk out isn't a free pass to wreck things, but rather a massive sacrifice that slowly erases her from the world. Robot. Robot plays the Iron Man archetype to its perfection. He is the hyper-intelligent, aloof genius who leads the team from inside a highly advanced mechanical suit. He brings tactical thinking, the gadgets, and energy blast when things get completely out of hand. Where Robot completely leaves the Tony Stark blueprints behind is his lack of humanity. Stark is a charismatic billionaire with ego problems and human flaws. Robot is originally a severely deformed guy named Rudy living in a life support tank, piloting drones remotely. He eventually crosses a massive ethical line by cloning a new body using Splode's DNA and moving his brain into it. Robot's real weapon is his cold logic. Iron Man might make some questionable calls, but he is still just a caring dude who sheds tears after hugging his father. Robot operates purely on calculations. He will literally massacre his own friends if the math tells him it's the best way to achieve global peace. He strips away all the charm of the tech hero and replaces it with terrifying and sociopathic tendencies. Give him enough prep time and he becomes Thanos incarnate. Guardians of the Globe. Guardians of the Globe is the most obvious parody in the whole series. They are a direct, copy-paste version of the Justice League. Darkwing is Batman, Red Rush is the Flash, Aquarus is Aquaman, Martian Man is Martian Manhunter, War Woman is Wonder Woman, and Green Ghost is Green Lantern. They look and act like the untouchable heroes of a long-running comic series. The sick joke here is that they only exist to establish how deadly the Invincible universe really is. Normally, the Justice League has infinite plot armor. They might lose a round, but they don't just die permanently in a random hallway. Omni-Man corners them and brutally slaughters the entire roster in minutes. It completely shatters whatever illusion of safety you would still have remaining in the show. The audience sees these familiar archetypes, thinks of that catchy superhero squad theme or the DCU, and assumes they will be around forever. Invincible being what it is, has its story use them as sacrificial lambs. No matter how classic your power set is, nobody is safe. Being a top-tier hero doesn't guarantee you survive the first act in a universe like this. Adam Eve. Adam Eve visually parodies DC's Star Sapphire. Samantha Wilkins flies around, creates glowing pink energy shields, and makes solid constructs. If you just look at her panels, she seems like a standard, flashy, energy-wielding comic heroine whose powers run on willpower or alien magic. The reality is way more grounded in science, and significantly more overpowered. Eve isn't creating hard light from a magic ring like Green Lantern. She is quite literally manipulating matter on a subatomic level. She can turn a titanium wall into steam, change an enemy's clothes into heavy chains, or just create a full meal out of thin air. A perfect power to ask for everything you wish for if a genie gave you only one wish. Of course, because that level of reality warping is basically broken, her creator had to nerf her. Brandy put mental blocks in her brain so she can't alter living tissue. Her own Zamaron gem, if you will, but as an inhibitor rather than an enabler. If that block ever cracks though, she stops being a simple energy slinger and becomes a literal god who can rewrite human biology on the fly. Star Sapphire ain't got nothing on her. Rex Splode. Rex is a very loud, incredibly obnoxious spin on the X-Men's Gambit. They share the exact same core gimmick, charging up small, inorganic objects with energy and throwing them as explosives. Rex carries that same arrogant, rule-breaking attitude, flirts with everyone, and acts as the resident wildcard on the team. The difference is in their origins and how they carry themselves. Gambit is a smooth, mysterious thief born with mutant powers. He has style. Rex, on the other hand, was sold by his parents to a sketchy government agency and surgically altered into a living weapon. He wasn't born cool or had a generational swag. He was manufactured in a lab to be disposable artillery. That kinda explains why Rex is such a jerk most of the time. He acts completely reckless because he was raised like ammunition. Gambit throws exploding cards to look slick. Rex throws exploding debris because blowing things up is the only thing he was ever taught to do. His cocky personality is just a massive defense mechanism to hide a pretty messed up childhood. Tech Jacket. Tech Jacket is clearly inspired by Blue Beetle. The inherent setup is exactly the same. A completely normal teenager stumbles onto an alien artifact and gets bonded to a crazy suit of high-tech armor. Zach Thompson goes from high school kid to flying around shooting energy blasts and fighting in space wars. What makes Tech Jacket be in its own little niche is how pathetic the alien creators actually are. Jaime Reyes gets the Blue Beetle Scarab, which is a legendary weapon made by a conqueror race. Zach gets his jacket from the Geldarians, a race of aliens that are incredibly smart but physically helpless. They built the Tech Jackets just so they could survive walking around without dying. Zach essentially inherited an alien wheelchair, let alone a weapon of mass destruction. But because he's a naturally durable human, strapping that survival suit to his body creates a massive power spike. The suit permanently connects to him, meaning he can't ever take it off. He is no chosen one, just a regular kid who became infinitely dangerous because of a pure accident. Dupli-Kate. Dupli-Kate is a direct parallel to the X-Men's Multiple Man, using the exact same ability to create infinite clones of herself. Kate Shaw uses this power to overwhelm enemies, essentially acting as a one-woman army for the teen team. She can swarm bad guys, handle crowd control, and be in a dozen places at once. The Invincible part of her power is bound to be ruthless, with such an OP skill, of course. It is the psychological toll the power takes on her. When Multiple Man loses a clone, it's annoying. When Kate loses a clone, she feels the trauma and the pain of that death. She has to constantly watch herself get brutally murdered, crushed, or blown up, and she absorbs all that mental damage. Because of this, she actually hides her original, prime body in a safe house and lives her entire life through her disposable copies. It completely changes how you look at the cloning trope. It's not a fun tactical advantage at all, like the shadow clone jutsu. Her entire superhero career requires her to treat her own body like cannon fodder, making her power an absolute nightmare. It's GG if her main body is ever found, though.
The Immortal. The Immortal takes the core concept of DC's Vandal Savage, but slaps a superhero cape on it instead of a villainous agenda.
Just like Savage, Immortal was a violent caveman thousands of years ago who stumbled into a mysterious cosmic anomaly. The energy changed his DNA, granting him eternal life and super strength. He has lived through all of human history, fighting in endless wars and taking on the identities of historical figures like Abraham Lincoln. The difference is how he uses that endless lifespan. Vandal Savage uses his immortality to play 4D chess, manipulating empires from the shadows to conquer the world. Immortal just wants to punch bad guys in the face. He became a public superhero who flies around and brawls. He isn't really a genius tactician either. His real advantage is just that you literally cannot keep him dead. You can rip him in half, and as long as his parts are put back together, he just wakes up angry. He is the ultimate Zenkai boost warrior, a guy who wins fights purely because he has thousands of years of experience getting beaten up.